Yeah, what is up, guys? I've had the chance of playing CS2 for a couple days now, and I think I probably have like 10 hours in the game now at this point. And here's what I think of Counter-Strike 2. I think it has a lot of positives, but I definitely do think the negatives outweigh the positives. Like the positives, for example, that I can think of is the buy menu, for example. It's a great feature. You can switch between the M4A4 and the M4A1S. You can buy whichever you want. You can refund guns and utility, which is a great thing. Because whenever someone would accidentally buy too many nades or you would buy a gun he didn't mean to buy, you can now refund it, which is a great feature and something they definitely probably should have added years ago in CSGO, but it's here now, so I'm thankful of that. It's a great feature. The maps look incredible. Just I'm on 1280 by 960 stretch pattern now, and it looks quite good even in this resolution. I'm on the lowest settings as well, so gotta take that into account as well. Um, the FPS is not as bad as I thought, but obviously it's not optimal. I would have liked for it to be better than what it is now. I see my FPS being at around 120 up to 250, right? It's super inconsistent and it depends on the maps I play. On Inferno, it's probably the worst, and on maps like Mirage and Vertigo, I think it's probably the best. And it differs also. Like when I'm in T-spawn looking towards mid here like this, I get 150, 130 FPS. But when I'm like towards second mid and I'm looking like when I'm like here, obviously it has those things a lot. Like here it's like almost 200. So it depends in the area you're in of the maps, but the FPS is definitely not great, but also not as bad as I thought it would be. So that's another good thing, and I definitely do think that by the time the game gets released, the FPS won't be as bad as it is now. Also, like skins, the way skins look, right? This skin doesn't nearly look as it does in CS:GO. The skins are really great, and some people could argue, that maybe is a money move by Valve, right? Make skins look better, so people invest and buy more into skins, buy more cases, try and get ridiculous knives and skins. Maybe that's an incentive by Valve to get people to buy more cases and buy more skins, etc. Who knows? I definitely do think it's a plus. Like, look how shiny that is, right? Like all the dopamines in my brain just go off looking at it. It's really pretty. But that's like another, really good positive that maybe has an underlying negative. But yeah, that's like also another positive in my eyes. And there's probably some others that I can't remember right now, some other positives, but getting to the negatives, I definitely do think the negatives outweigh the positives. For example, just moving around, like the movement is super clunky. It's not nearly as smooth as in CS:GO. And when you talk about movement, CS:GO is not even the game that has the best movement, right? Like the previous iterations of CS, Counter-Strike have better movement than CS:GO, and this game doesn't even have movement as good as CS:GO. So movement is definitely an issue. It feels super clunky. Sometimes it requires me multiple jumps to get on certain positions. For example, if you take headshot on Vertigo, I was playing Vertigo a couple days ago, and it required me like 5 jumps to just jump on top of the headshot on A side Vertigo. So I definitely feel like movement should be improved before it gets released. If the game gets released and the movement is as it is now, I'll be really disappointed. So definitely think movement needs some work. Some other things like the aiming feels fine. It doesn't feel nearly as good as CS:GO, but maybe you could attribute that to the FPS we're getting. Obviously, if you get less FPS, you get more input lag, and if you get close to your refresh rate, or if you dip below your refresh rate, then obviously you will feel a lot of input lag. So the aiming is fine. The FPS is just causing it to be not as good, I think. And I think they will also improve the FPS before the game gets released. So that's another thing that's bothering me a bit, but I'm hopeful that it'll get fixed. The next thing that I want to talk about is the gun mechanics. The only thing that feels remotely decent is the tapping in this game. Bursting is pretty shitty, and also, my FPS just dipped to 90 there. But anyway, and I'm like solo with a bot. But anyway, bursting feels pretty shitty, if I'll be honest. It's not as bad as spraying, because spraying is terrible. Like I can't, like I'm a big sprayer in CS:GO. I'll always have my crosshair at head level, but for some reason, if I don't headshot the guy with my crosshair at head level, I'll just finish them off by spraying as fast as I can and just killing them as fast as I can, and that gets me the kill most of the times. And in this game, being a big sprayer is definitely a negative. If you're a big sprayer, then you'll have problems in this game. And I'll be honest, me as well personally, I'm not really that good in this game. A lot of times I get outfragged by, level 8, 7, 6 on Face It, and they'll just hit some crazy shots on me, whereas me, um, I'll have a really hard time replicating the same shots or even doing well in some of these ranked games I play. And the rank I've gotten, by the way, is close to 19k. I lost some elo, but yeah, that's the rank I got playing about 12 matches. So that's also interesting. But there are some pros that have gotten like 10k and some really bad players that have gotten 20k ranking. So the ranking is also a bit skewed, and I assume that will also balance out the more people play. So yeah, the spraying in short is really bad. The shooting mechanics should be improved, and I definitely feel like that will also be worked on before the game gets released. Another thing I want to talk about is the sound in this game. The sound is pretty bad. It's not as bad as some people make it out to be, but it's definitely not esports ready, ready for competitive play. Um, and I also feel like a lot of things are delayed. Like right there, I planted the bomb, but like the bomb plant sound feels like super delayed, and also like switching guns and stuff. Like it doesn't feel as one-to-one as in CS:GO. Like it doesn't feel crisp and really as fast as it is in CS:GO. Another thing that's quite a big problem is whenever you get out of spawn and you hit your teammates, and this is only an online play because in an offline mode like this it doesn't really happen. But like right now I'm like getting stuck on these players like I would do in CS:GO, right? But when I'm playing online, whenever I get stuck like this, sometimes I'll just teleport, right? It's just a lot of rubber banding going on. So that's another thing that needs a lot of work from Valve's side. Now, one more thing I would like to mention is smokes. Nading to the smokes is a feature we've always known about, obviously, and that's up to debate. What people feel about it. I don't mind it too much. I would rather not have it in the game, but it's whatever. And also with the smokes, whenever you're on top of the boost here, like if you would use a smoke here, for example, look how stupid that is, right? Like smokes are just incredibly big, and like also whenever like I was shift walking through smokes in rank play, like it took so long for me to get out of the smokes, and I was just so confused and disoriented. But anyway, obviously this has to be fixed, and the smokes maybe shouldn't be as big as they are. But I definitely like the way they look, and it's a good counter to um, one ways that people like to throw. And like one more thing I have issue I have is like whenever there is a lot of like nades being thrown, I sometimes can't really comprehend what's going on. For example, if like a molly lands at my feet and I try to smoke it, sometimes it takes a second or half a second for it to actually extinguish and for me to realize that it's extinguished. And sometimes I also don't notice that I'm burning. Maybe I get naded and at the same time a molly lands at my feet. And in CSGO, I'm not sure what it is, but in CSGO, when that happens, like I'll realize I'm burning, but in this game, it's just really hard to realize that you're actually burning in a lot of situations. And I don't know why that is personally. And it's like super hard to see some flash in some certain situations. Like if they do like flash over the top there, or if they underhand flash, like for some reason it's super hard to see him. Sometimes there's like birds in the sky as well, and I'm not sure if those are nades or if those are just like birds flying around. And that's also a minus from me. And like the nades, maybe I just need to get used to it. But the flash and the HE and the smoke all look similar. So whenever like I see like a nade like that being thrown, it looks like an HE grenade because like it's like also black, right? Like both of those are quite black, and I don't know like what I'm exactly looking at there. So that's another thing that I felt like was worth mentioning. One more thing I really dislike is whenever you're in a duel, the way the opponent's model looks when he's like running and he's swinging you or he's like just dueling you looks super odd and goofy, and I'm not sure, it just doesn't look really great. I'm not sure why that is. Looks a bit cartoonish, maybe a bit goofy. That's another issue I've come across. And then also whenever like I play low setting, I play super low settings, right? And then there's a smoke somewhere and a player goes in front of it, they just look super pixelated and look like more like a stick figure than they do look like an actual model. That's another bug I've come across. And then like some closing things that are like small but also need to be put into the game. This one, for example, this command CL bub lower amped that makes your view model stop moving as much, makes it bub less. And then also one big thing that I personally don't use, but a lot of people have complained about is this one here, where they get left hand, right? And that's something that people find unplayable now, and I hope that gets added as well. Probably, missed out on a couple things and haven't included everything I wanted to talk about. And if I did, I apologize for that. Just sort of concluding statement here. I think the game is good. I think the fixes that are needed, are going to take some time, and I don't expect this game to be out until at least the first quarter of next year. And I definitely do want you guys' expectations for when the game gets released to, put in check, because with a game like this, with the amount of issues it has, I don't think I can imagine it being released in the next couple of months. But it has a lot of potential, right? I definitely like the way it looks. I like the feeling of the game, even though I have low FPS, the feeling of the game is quite nice. Um, and already I've seen a lot of potential. So let's keep being civil. Let's keep giving feedback to the developers, and let's hope for a great game in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think of the game, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.